Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. Shopify is there to help you grow. Shopify helps you sell everywhere, from their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system. Shopify's got you covered. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout, 36% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms, and sell more with less effort thanks to Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. What I love about Shopify is how no matter how big you want to grow, Shopify gives you everything you need to take control and take your business to the next level. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S., and Shopify is the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, and Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Plus, Shopify's award-winning help is there to support your success every step of the way. Because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are the things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
Millions of families have fallen in love with themselves on their skylight frames, with close to 2 million frames sold across 34 countries and over 675 million photos and videos shared. What? Skylight Frame is a tried and true way to stay connected with family and friends. So this holiday season, give the gift that keeps on giving: memories. Whether it's for grandparents who adore seeing the grandkids' latest antics, or a friend who loves capturing every moment, the Skylight Frame is the perfect gift to bring joy and connection into any home. And a really fun thing you could do with it is use it in gift mode. Make it the ultimate surprise. You could preload it with your favorite photos before gifting the frame, and then when the person who gets the frame plugs it in, they'll see all those special memories ready for immediate enjoyment. I love things when they're ready for immediate enjoyment. This is better than any other way to share photos, right? You can have your long text message chains where you're trying to find the right photo or you don't look at them enough. Do you know the Skylight Frame can hold up to 8,000 photos with 8 gigabytes of space, and satisfaction is guaranteed? We're confident you'll love Skylight. They offer free 120-day returns. Wow. And for a limited time, get 20% off your purchase off a Skylight Frame when you go to ca.skylightframe.com/hockey. That's right. To get 20% off your Skylight Frame, just go to ca.skylightframe.com/hockey. That's ca.skylightghtframe.com/hockey.
What's up, champs? Welcome to another episode of Short Shift's Fantasy Hockey Podcast, brought to you by Keepy Carlson. I'm Shams here, presenting again for Thursday, and we got a very special guest, the one and only Elan. How are you doing today?
Hey, Shams, doing good. Happy to step in here for a last-minute short shift. I think this is my first short shift of the season. I know I have a bit of a reputation of coming on this show and then turning it into like a long shift. So I'm dedicated and focused on us just like getting down to it, knocking this out, half hour, see you later. So let's do this.
Yeah, and talking about getting your first game in, we don't know for sure what it's going to be, but it looks like Demko, at least for himself, says that he's ready now to play, and now it's more of just up to the coaches. Hopefully it goes better than McCabe when he said he was ready, but it looks like they have a game tomorrow and I believe on Sunday, so it looks like that he could be back at any point.
Yeah, wow. I mean, that's great for the Canucks. Kevin Lankinen has been really good in his absence, but Shelov's not so much. So I'm sure the Canucks will be better off having two good goalies. It's going to be really interesting to see how many games someone like a Lankinen gets, because he's really just carried the load. He's up to a .906 save percentage now. He's been playing pretty much every game, like stretches of like three. He's played 3 in a row right now. So yeah, I feel like people might be thinking, okay, now time to dump Lankinen when Demko comes back. And I could understand that. I'd imagine that like Demko's going to get a decent amount of games, but also just remember that Demko's coming back from this like serious kind of injury, and it seems like the reporting on it was that it's going to be, not the kind of thing that fully heals, something he's going to be dealing with. So I might give it a couple games first, and also maybe even if Demko's fine and plays the rest of the season, maybe the Canucks would be smart to still kind of go close to 50-50 just to not wear him out. So I don't think we've seen the last of Kevin Lankinen, right? And don't forget, Lankinen is going to be a UFA after this season. He's playing for a new contract. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. If I had Lankinen, I'd be a little bit frustrated that Demko's coming back, but you knew it was happening eventually, and who knows? Hopefully Demko, for the people who have him, like comes back and is the all-star Demko that we're used to, but no guarantees, of course. It's been a long layoff.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Talking about if you had Lankinen, I have him in Cacuffle, and that's the thing. It's actually going to be a wait and see. And especially with, as you said, with the injuries, and you never know how a goalie's going to come back. You could even be fully healthy, and you could just play bad with Demko. So you never know. So I'm going to at least give the first few games, and also helps that my matchup is kind of decided at the moment, so I can do that little bit of wait. But at the very least, wait it out. And then if it turns into 50-50, then you have to do your dance of, is it a categories league where you can live with that, or if it's a volume league, and then you're going to have to make that decision. But at the very least, you don't have to make it now.
Yeah, I do kind of wonder if I had Demko, if I'd be trying to shop him, like just try to get like a decent return, if I can get like a guy who I know is going to be like really solid for me, just to not have to be stressed out about like how they're going to split starts, just because like Lankinen's been so reliable. I just wonder if that just like makes the Canucks less needing to like really rely on Demko. Another quick thing about Vancouver while we're here, there's starting to be some murmurings. I don't know what to believe, what not to believe, but apparently JT Miller is coming back soon. He left for his personal issue. I think we still don't know what that was about, but he's apparently been skating. That was according to Rick Tocchet, and he said, quote, "We have a plan." One of the beat writers, Diwali, said something along the lines of that Miller might be back this weekend. So I don't know. It just seems like JT Miller's going to be back soon, and he's not going to get traded to the Rangers, as some of the rumors indicated. So if you have JT Miller in your IR and you're planning out the rest of your fantasy week, there is that chance. Maybe he'll be back this weekend. Maybe he'll be back next week. So obviously that'll be huge for him. And I think the one person who that will probably hurt, like we haven't seen any lines with him, of course, but Pius Suter, who I believe was talked about on the Tuesday short shift, was he? I'm not sure. I've been hearing him talked about a lot, though, and he's on a great hot streak, 5 points in his last 5 games, but he's been centering the second line, centering Connor Garland. So I'd imagine he gets bumped down, but we'll see. But maybe it's going to be about time for his, nice little run to end. So definitely something to watch as we wait for JT Miller to return.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And especially with how they've been playing with the lines a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised, they have like Besser on the top line now with Pettersson. You never know. He could end up being in a spot with one of the two big centers, but something to keep in mind. And going to the next spot where we'll be moving from Vancouver, going to Buffalo with Rasmus Dahlin is not playing tonight. And right now it's kind of a ambiguous spot. The coach said he's hoping it's short term, but it's tough to tell with back spasms. This is the injury that kind of kept him out in the off season, or at least the preseason. So this is more of a wait and see with how long it is. At least it's that kind of day. It's not a bone break. So it's not long term, but you don't have the obvious return point. So you're just gonna have to pay attention to the news. And going forward with that, we have the opportunity. It wasn't just a 1-for-1 change on the power play. Power does come in for Dahlin, but there's another change. It's now Zucker, Cousins, Tuck, and Thompson are now on that top line power play, with Peterka moving to the second. And the interesting thing is that they actually scored their first power play goal in 7 games today, with a goal from Thompson, Zucker, and Tuck. So I guess it's working, but either way, what do you take from this?
I mean, it's hard to really give a big insight just because we don't know how long Dahlin will be injured. Obviously, you're going to want to have the defenseman quarterback in the top power play. So if Owen Power is there, that definitely makes him more valuable if he's available to you. Of course, they also do have Bowen Byram, who I feel like would be an interesting guy to try there as well. So if it's a long-term thing, who knows if they end up like swapping at some point. So I would also increase my interest in a Bowen Byram, who's gotten going a little bit recently. And yeah, the other big thing is Jason Zucker, like you said, has been on the top power play like today, and has a power play assist, but he's actually been there for a while, but he's also been on the third line. But now I'm seeing that Zucker today is playing also on the top line with Thompson and Tuck. So I don't know how long that's going to last. This is the kind of thing that could switch by the end of the game that's happening right now. But as long as Jason Zucker is top line, top power play with Tage Thompson, that's a me likey. That's someone that he goes on your radar. Maybe you add him if you have room. Buffalo plays 4 times next week. No guarantee Zucker's top line, top power play for that entire week. But yeah, go for him. And then obviously also go for a Power and or a Byram, depending on, how concerned you are about this Dahlin injury, because that's a great opportunity for them. So definitely some Sabres that have increased interest right before a 4-game week. That's something you want to be taking note of.
Yeah, for sure. And on that Zucker note is that the coach seems to love him. I see him just like anytime there needs to be a change with the top 6, he seems to be the one that sneaks in. He was playing the top line, I believe, when Thompson was hurt. He also found a way to the top 6 when Peterka was injured early to the season. So he seems to keep on fighting his way in. So maybe it might be a yo-yo, but even if it's a 1-game thing, either way, he could find himself back in. And I've noticed him at the very least in deep leagues or even medium leagues. I'd be interested in him because he just seems to be one of those guys that the coach loves and he finds his way into points.
Yeah, especially with a 4-game week coming up, you could do a lot worse. JJ Peterka being bumped from that top line, maybe a little bit concerning. He did score a goal in that last game versus Colorado. No points so far. It's 2-2 halfway through the game against the Jets today. But yeah, clearly Peterka might lose a little bit of value, but again, we don't know if the lines are going to shift, but he's already been struggling. So I'm sure his managers are, all the people who've been like, just hold on, he'll be fine. He's playing with Thompson on the top line, top power play. Now he's not on the top line. And also you listed the top power play today. Peterka also not there, right? To repeat what you said, Cousins, Thompson, Tuck, Zucker, and the defenseman, Owen Power. That's not good. If he's second line, second power play, JJ Peterka, a lot less interesting, maybe droppable in your shallower leagues, or unless you just want to give it a game or two to see if the lines shift back.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And that's kind of the thing. At the very least, he's with Cousins and Benson on the second line, so it's not like the biggest emotion. However, it is something. The fact that was in conjunction with the power play, that's the thing that scares me. So, as we said, we're not 100% sold that Zucker's going to stay in the top 6, so there's going to be possibilities of shifting, but it could be anything at this point. But at the very least, we're all on the same page. It's not good. It's more of just how long it's going to last. And talking about not being the greatest, we got Dorofeyev kind of taking the back seat with Olofsson coming back into the lines for Vegas. Is that he did start, Dorofeyev did start on the top line, but got replaced by Olofsson to be playing with Eichel and Barbashev. And then that left Dorofeyev to be with Carlson and Howden, which is not the nicest because at the very least in the past when I had interest in Dorofeyev, he was playing with Hurdle, which is at least kind of more of an offensive threat. But at this current situation, this is kind of the same ideas we were talking about with Peterka, is that I'm not 100% sure where I'm going to be with him, but I'm going to give him a little bit of a rope. At least Dorofeyev at this time has the top power play. We'll see what Stone comes back, which could be as early as next game. But this is going to be one of those situations where, depending on how deep your league is, where you're in the standings or your matchup, as we were talking about with Buffalo, I want to give a little bit more time, especially with Stone coming back, because these lines could be 100% different by the time we're done talking.
Well, yeah, especially since yesterday Vegas beat Anaheim 4-1. They were ahead like the whole game, and they scored in the first and never looked back. And they still changed up the lines midway through and bumped Dorofeyev and put Olofsson on the top line there with Eichel and Barbashev. So it could happen again at the same time. Yeah, you're saying there's maybe concerns about Dorofeyev, but also keep in mind Victor Olofsson, right? If he's back on the top line, and also he had a nice game. His first game back, he didn't do anything, but this second game against Anaheim, 2 assists for Victor Olofsson. That second one was an assist on a Shea Theodore goal but Jack Eichel also had an assist on, so that was from the top line. His first assist was on a William Karlsson goal. So Olofsson producing from whatever line he's on. We'll see if he gets back on the top power play. He did get top power play deployment early on before he got injured. So Olofsson, very interesting. The only downside is if you're listening to this on Friday, then you'll get the game today. And then Vegas doesn't play again until the following Thursday. So you're waiting 6 days. So up to you to decide if it's worth it to wait that long. Then it's like a good end of week schedule for Vegas next week. It's like, I think, a Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. So I think there's definitely some intrigue in Victor Olofsson, but maybe if you can wait and grab him like a Monday or Tuesday next week, that would be ideal. But it'll be a race. And I actually added him in Cupful. The whole plan was just to get a 2-day stream because I found out that Gensel was injured and he wasn't playing till Thursday. So I stashed Gensel. I picked up Olofsson knowing he was going to play Tuesday, Wednesday. And then just, then he had those 2 assists yesterday. So of course I was like, oh, now maybe I should hold Olofsson. But I was like, no, I'm going to stick to the plan. He's back in free agency. And now it'll be me racing with the rest of the tier 3 Lejung B competitors of who's going to get him first before his big schedule at the end of next week. So I guess those are our headlines, Shams. Let's do a little ad break. Come back with all of the, more headlines. This whole show is headlines. That's the point. See you soon.
I just added Cam Talbot to my fantasy hockey team, and what better way to follow that up than by going to do some in-person scouting? And if I want to do some in-person scouting, I can go to the Canadian Tire Center and see the Red Wings visit the Senators, and the best way to do that is to get my tickets on Game Time. An even easier way to do it is on Game Time. Use the Game Time Picks feature. It's new, and it makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. It filters out the fluff, so you only see incredible deals on great seats. You don't have to waste your time searching through thousands of tickets. I'm looking right now. I see tons of great deals here. Tickets from $17, and I can hear the judgment of other hockey markets. Sure, go ahead, judge away. This is where we're at in Ottawa right now. But I get a picture. I get a rating of the deal. I get whether it's good value, how much percentage off it is, the face value, all of this in just one look on the Game Time app. And also, they have all-in pricing too. You can see the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code THPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code THPN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time!
The 2024-25 NHL season still has that new car smell, and the action is heating up at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first-timers to get started at DraftKings Sportsbook. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. You can also pick on a player to score a goal. You can bet on a whole bunch of things. And if you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN. Stands for the Hockey Podcast Network, for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ice.
Welcome back, and with the news coming out today, just out of nowhere, where it's going rough, it gets rougher for Nashville, is Ryan O'Reilly is now out week to week with a lower body injury. Kind of came out of nowhere, just a tweet from the team to tell us that, which gave us a whole new set of lines. Elan, can you throw it to us?
Yeah, look, Nashville on paper should be a good team. This has been a disaster of a season, and now obviously getting worse, losing their top line center. So it looks like Stamkos has gone up to the top line for today's game. By the way, it's the end of the second period at this exact moment. Nashville hasn't scored yet against Montreal. It's 1-0 for Montreal. So yeah, this top line of Forsberg, Stamkos, Nyquist. It's Stamkos, I guess, taking over as the top line center, leaving Marchessault to be on the second line with Svechkov and Jankowski, though I think, Shams, you were saying you saw a mid-game line change, and Leroux is playing with Marchessault. So I don't know. They're probably going to have to switch things around quite a bit, trying to figure things out. Here's one silver lining I'll throw out there for people. Remember last year when Gustav Nyquist was on the top line and top power play and was really good in the second half of the year? So I don't know. He's back. It looks like today against Montreal, it's Nyquist who's taken Ryan O'Reilly's spot on that top power play, playing with Forsberg, Marchessault, Nyquist, Stamkos, and Roman Josi. It sounds like a good power play. I mean, it sounded like this was going to be a good team. Hasn't worked out. Maybe it'll be the same. But, if you're in a deep enough league, I think maybe now would be a good time to take a shot on Gustav Nyquist. Hard to argue with the deployment. Like if you were to just tell me, hey, do you want the guy playing with Stamkos and Forsberg and also on the top power play? I'd be like, yeah, I think so. So that person's Gustav Nyquist. He was successful there in the past, not with Stamkos, with O'Reilly, but Stamkos you would have hoped is just as good or better than O'Reilly. So yeah, he's someone that maybe jumps out as a potential beneficiary here just because of that power play improvement.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's nice to find at least some silver lining out of this. And as we talked about last week, too, is Marchessault is taking a lot of shots. So that is something to keep in mind. And with that line, with his line mates, he's probably going to have to beat that line driver. So at the very least, he's going to be in a position to be, the guy at the line. And hopefully he can make something come into that as well.
Okay. Next injury.
And talking about injuries that came out of nowhere, it's probably you like me, is that we're maybe in your shower leagues looking for people to play on the 4-game off night week. And you're like, oh, well, pick up Seguin. He's been doing well, got all the off games done. Sadly, we're not going to be seeing much of him probably for the rest of the season. He is out 4 to 6 months with a surgery. I believe it was on his hip. So basically, you can store him on your IR, but if you're ever overfilling, you can let him go in your 1-year leagues. And that now has put Logan Stankoven to take his place with Duchesne and Marchment, and then keeps the top line of Hintz, Robertson, and Johnston, and then Steele, Ben, and Dadonov is the top 9.
Yeah, so Logan Stankoven gets that improvement. Duchesne and Marchment have both been really good this season. I'm seeing that Stankoven had an assist in the game versus LA yesterday, so could be the start of something. He'd been a bit cold, probably dropped in a lot of leagues, so I think now would be a time to consider grabbing Stankoven for the Friday, Sunday, and then you can reassess. While we're here really quickly, Wyatt Johnston, 8 points in his last 8 games. Now, it was a slow start. We all expected he was going to be huge this season, and it was kind of a bummer to see him. Actually, he did have 5 points in his first 5 games. Look at the game log now. So I guess it started fine, and then all of a sudden he just disappeared. But now, yeah, these last 8 games, 8 points for Wyatt Johnston. So I'm very excited to see what he does for the rest of the season, but I feel like any buy low window is probably closed, and anyone who did could be in for some fun here. But yeah, as far as that Seguin injury, that's a bummer. Maybe he'll be back in time for the playoffs. We'll see. He's having a really great season. So I'm sure he's disappointed, but hopefully he gets back and ready to go for maybe the games that really matter.
Yeah, it's that basically what happened with Wyatt Johnston is what everyone was hoping for Byfield, is that both of them were hanging around on the third line, but instead of Byfield, Wyatt Johnston actually found his way back onto the top line with the big guns with Hintz and Robertson. So with that has really helped with his just overall performance playing with those guys instead of, trying to move Dadonov. And while Ben has played well, is that, I don't want to throw him too much shade. I'd be rather with Hintz and Robertson than say Ben and Dadonov. So at the very least, if you have any guesses, I feel like this streak is going to be continuing. It's not just puck luck. He actually has the better deployment as well.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of Byfield, he was dropped in like a couple division. No one added him. He's just sitting there. I want him, like, if he's the Byfield that I hoped he would be this season, but at this point, bad deployment. Even when he was getting good deployment, he wasn't doing anything. He's still on the top power play in LA, not doing anything. So I'm sure at some point someone's going to grab him, and then maybe he'll go off, maybe he won't. Maybe if LA has a good schedule at some point, I'll grab him if no one else does. But especially for a 2-game week this week, I was like, whatever. So it's too bad because this was supposed to be a breakout year for him. But hey, nice to see Wyatt Johnston, one of our other big breakout candidates, doing well at the moment.
Oh yeah, I dropped Byfield and Cacuffle, and that was I I think it was literally the game before he had the 1 goal, 1 assist game. And I'm like, oh crap, did I mess up? And then after that game, he went back to his 1 shot, 1 hit game. So looks like it's, at the very least, I'm of the mind I'm just going to ignore him unless he somehow takes that left wing spot back with Kempe and Kopitar. But if he's anywhere else, other than like a stream, I am just going to not play with that fire again.
Yeah, no, you're probably right. All right, so we still got more injuries, right? I see we're going to Anaheim next.
Yeah, now we don't know what's going on here, but it's a shame. Zegras went down with a lower body injury. There's some guesses of what it could be, but at the very least, he did not return to the game. And with the way that the team has been going, is that it was really him and Terry that was really just pulling the weight a lot for the points. You're still like Vetrano and whatnot that been getting points here and there, but this is more of one of those situations where we'll talk up and like, hey, this player, Nyquist is taking over on power play when we're talking about other injuries. I think this injury, if he's out for any significant amount of time, this is just a minus for literally every single player on the team. Do you agree?
I mean, on one hand, yes. On the other hand, it's like Trevor Zegras hasn't exactly been that amazing. Where it's like, I don't know if it's like a huge minus to not have Trevor Zegras there. I just feel like he started getting going a little bit, and yeah, now he's hurt, so that's too bad, because maybe it would have been nice to see him bounce back a bit. I guess it looks like, at least in this last game against Vegas, and it looks like it was only 1 power play, so I don't want to read too much into it, but it seems like they just have kind of now a loaded top power play. It was Terry, Vetrano, Killorn, and Ryan Strome. If you don't have Zegras there, I guess there is like Cutter Gauthier and Mason McTavish, but those guys haven't really stepped up yet. So maybe if that's the top power play and they get more minutes, like this could be good for someone like a Vetrano or a Terry. Zellweger's been the defenseman there, even though I know that Cam Fowler came back. I wonder if at some point Fowler gets back on a power play. It was Jackson Lacombe on PP2. But at the end of the day, also, it's just hard to mine any fantasy like relevance out of the Ducks. They don't even score that many goals. So probably none of this matters too much to anybody. I don't think anyone is like devastated that Trevor Zegras is injured. Like if Troy Terry were to get injured and I have him on my couple team, I'd probably be like, oh, then like, well, hey, I got a free spot now that I can do something with, because I wasn't going to drop him, but also it's not like he's someone that's been killing it for me. It's not like when Granlund like missed a couple games. It's like, no, my best player, he can't. Or when I saw that Gensel was potentially going to be hurt, I was like frustrated. If Terry was going to be out, I'd be like, that's fine. I'm sure there's someone in free agency who will do just as well. I could get Jason Zucker, who I might want more at this point.
Yeah, when you're talking about a top power play, and you said you used the word loaded, and you had the name Ryan Strome in it as well, it's not going to be the greatest.
Okay.
Yeah. Talking about a team that is actually loaded. Now, they have some injuries, and hopefully they'll be able to go through them, is that the Wild have come out with updates on their big name injuries, and it's not looking good. We got Brodin, Eriksson, Ek, and Zuccarello all listed as week to week. And with this, we'll have to keep in mind is that Brodin and Zuccarello have been out a little bit already, so we don't know if that's adding to it or if it's their closer return. But at the very least, we can expect those three to be out for a while. And with that, we had a top line of still Marco Rossi centering Kaprizov and Boldy. So you still have that top line that I wouldn't be too worried about. And then kind of dips from there. You have the second line of Hartman, Johansson, Foligno. So really at this point is that all their power, at least on the forwards, is in that top line, which is nice from a fantasy perspective.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge hit. This is one of those ones, if you had Joel Eriksson Ek, where you're just like, ugh, this is a kick in the gut. You're not going to find someone in free agency like him. Yeah, I guess the beneficiary here is clearly going to be Marco Rossi if he's playing with Kaprizov and Boldy for some length of time, and also gets a good chance to stick on the top power play. So if Marco Rossi is out there, now would be a good time to get him. But yeah, if they're going to load up that top line, then none of the other lines are interesting at all. Well, Eriksson Ek is out. So yeah, go get Rossi if you can, because that's pretty sweet if he's going to be with Kaprizov and Boldy long term. But yeah, bummer for Eriksson Ek.
Yeah, and just to keep in mind with Rossi is that he's not a volume shooter, so you're going to have those situations where you might get like a zero shot, but like an assist. So if you're okay with the low bagger stats, but the point upside is definitely there, and playing with those guys, the point upside is much more than other situations.
Mm-hmm.
And now for good news is we got Zach Hyman's back. And he's back where everyone expected. He's now taking the top line with R&H, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and McDavid. And he is on the top power play. That was said. It didn't come out with the lines, but I would assume that Corey Perry is just going to be replaced with your usuals, with your Nugent-Hopkins, McDavid, Hyman, and Draisaitl with Bouchard as the defenseman. So just kind of a simple situation where if you have him, slap him in, and Draisaitl's stuck, quote unquote, with Podkolzin and Kapanen, but he's a great player. He'll find ways to get points, and McDavid now has another winger to go with him.
Yeah, Draisaitl is going to be fine. He's been rolling lately, though obviously he didn't do anything in that last game where Edmonton lost to Vegas 1-0 and had some record low amount of shots, or the game had some record low amount of shots. I don't know, I was seeing some tweets that you were putting out there with some wild stats from that game. But anyways, now they have Zach Hyman back. It's going to be fine. The Oilers are going to go off. Zach Hyman managers are obviously hoping that he's going to come back and be more closely the Hyman from last season. But I guess, we'll see how things shake out there with the forwards. Like you said, there's probably not going to be any surprises with the power play. Oilers are playing later today. Who's it against here? The Columbus. One frustrating thing, by the way, I have Stuart Skinner. I thought it was for sure Skinner was going to play, and they're going with Calvin Pickard. Give me a break, man. Skinner's coming off 2 good games where he led in 1 goal against Colorado, 1 goal against Vegas. Give him another game. Don't go to Calvin Pickard. You're killing me here. But anyway, I hope they lose and then they learn their lesson, because Skinner was doing so badly, and then finally now he's on a roll. His previous game also he had a good game against the Rangers. You let him roll. Let him gain that confidence. Not happy.
Yeah, I'm also a Skinner manager, and I've noticed is that they do like to throw anytime to get the easier games. I forget, it was a week or 2 ago, they had another game. It could have been out against Columbus as well, is that they like to just kind of throw in Pickard just to kind of give a rest, and they're a little bit more strategic with the applications, and would be nice to have the easier games for Skinner to, rack up some easy points instead of getting thrown to, your Colorados and your Vegases. But, it's a shame to miss out. But at the very least, it's, we're not in a situation where we have the 50-50 splits with, Thompson and Lindgren or something. No, we still got the decent amount of starts.
Yeah, but I mean, Columbus, as Brian and I talked about on Sunday, not an easy game for a lot of goalies lately. They've been scoring a lot of goals. So I'm hoping for a blowout here. But okay, are we done with injuries and outjuries? Yeah, this has been a wild couple days. No, we have Patrick Kane is back.
Yep, and took the words right out of my mouth. And we'll see. We don't have any power play information, but he's back with his old pal DeBrincat and with Coffer centering that line. So, the Detroit has been kind of hanging around a lot of games, not winning, but at least, being in play. So hopefully this pushes him over the edge, and we'll see how you'll see power play lines by the time this show is out to have a little bit more detail on that. But at the very least, he's with DeBrincat at even strength.
Yeah, I mean, Patrick Kane has had not the most exciting start to the year, only 10 points in 20 games. Brian and I sometimes like to joke that even though you're injured, which is not good, but maybe it's also a good mental break for you to kind of get right. So I wonder if Patrick Kane could come back strong. I think he would have preferred, would be better for everyone if he was coming back to play with Larkin and Lucas Raymond. We saw that Tarasenko went on a little run while he was playing with those guys. Right now it's been Michael Rasmussen I'm seeing playing with them. So I'm sure that'll shake around again soon. But yeah, it's hard to have too much optimism that Patrick Kane is going to be especially noteworthy. But you'd imagine he's going to bump Rasmussen from the top power play. Because in that last game, it was Larkin, Rasmussen, DeBrincat, Raymond, and Moritz Seider. So I would think it's obvious that Patrick Kane takes that spot. So we'll see. But either way, Ottawa's playing against Detroit right now. It's 1-0 at the end of the second period. No power plays yet. Patrick Kane, no goals, no assists, 2 shots. Way to go.
And with him, actually, 2 shots is a decent amount because he actually hasn't been having that many shots in the past. So hopefully that time off is, did a little bit more than just take the injury, gave him a little bit of rest.
Yeah. I'm looking here. So far, Linus Ullmark has not let in any goals against the Wings, but only 12 saves through 2 periods. No one on the Wings are taking many shots. Patrick Kane leads the team in shots today, tied with Simon Edvinsson and Albert Johansson as the 3 people with 2 shots. So I think the Wings are going to have to... I'm probably just jinxing Ullmark now. But yeah, we'll see how that goes for Patrick Kane. And yeah, they talked, I think it was on Tuesday, about Tarasenko and how he was hot for a little while. But the fact that he got bumped for Rasmussen even before Patrick Kane came back goes to show that the hot streak wasn't going to last, because that was, I think a lot of that was coming from playing with Larkin and Raymond.
Oh yeah, it's especially now with the Red Wings, they have a lot of like good wingers. They don't have as many centers as I would like. Is that you're going to see a lot of time just throughout the weeks. They're just going to be shuffling those guys around, other than having Raymond kind of the top two. It's like kind of him and DeBrincat going to be, good spots. But other than that, they're just going to be shuffling a lot of the other wings around. And then, so nothing's really set for that. You just got to keep an idea on the lines.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we got one more outjury, right?
Yeah, one last, and this is just a quick one, is that Darcy Kemper's back. And the interesting thing is they activated him off IR just to be on the bench for the last game. And the thing to keep in mind is that what I saw is the coach talking up David Riddick. It's just saying how well he played with that injury time. So this is going to be a situation where I'm not really expecting any goalie to really take the net. It's going to be a situation, like, I'm not saying a 50-50, but I would be surprised if like one goalie is going to run away with it. So if you're in your volume leagues, maybe not pull the trigger right away on dropping a guy, but I'd be very wary now that there's actually two credible goalies back in net.
Yeah, Riddick, wow. In his last 9 games, 7 wins, 8 quality starts. There was just one bad 7-goal against game versus San Jose of all teams. But aside from that, you look at the last 8-9 games, it's all 1 goal against or 2 goals against, and the shutout against the Ducks. So, wait, that was only, he only played a couple minutes of that game. So, okay, not a shutout against the Ducks, but still a really amazing run for David Riddick. And yeah, I think it's pretty clear that he's not going to come back just to be the backup. I think that, if I was saying to you that maybe Lankinen's earned a few more starts, when Demko comes back, I think Riddick is at a much higher level. I wouldn't be surprised if Riddick gets more starts than Kemper the rest of the year, unless Kemper comes back and is amazing. Because Kemper he was fine, right? 902 save percentage, 4 wins in 10 games. I feel like LA is going to keep rolling with the guy that's winning. Probably it ends up being close to 50-50, but I would be surprised if either, or if one of them runs away with it, I think it would be Riddick at this point. I don't think it would be Kemper, but it's predicting goalies, so that's also a fool's errand.
Yeah, talking about predicting goalies, going on to hot streaks, we got Adin Hill, and people that drafted him in fantasy were probably thinking, what did they do with his sketchy start? And he had the situation where Samsonov was getting actually more starts in certain situations. And after that is that with his last 7 starts, he has 5 wins, a .935 save percentage, 2 shutouts, and a 10 goals saved above expected. 10. That's averaging almost 2 extra goals saved a game. So this is going to be a situation where I'm not saying Samsonov has played poorly. He has had some sketchy moments, but he's played decently as well. Is that I would see this situation was just how well Adin Hill's played, that this, instead of being a 50-50, could maybe start skirting it to maybe, the 60-30 situation where he gets a little bit more of the starts, and we'll see how things go going forward. Do you agree?
You would think that Adin Hill should get more starts, but if you look at the game log, it's still been mostly him just swapping with Samsonov. But I agree with you. I would think moving forward, Hill maybe gets a little bit more, but I don't think he'll be a huge volume guy, just because it just doesn't seem like they want him to be that. And I think that might be smart, because why risk getting him injured? Just have him and Samsonov both playing, and then when the playoffs come, then they can figure out what to do. But yeah, he's been really good. Earned his spot onto the 4 Nations tournament. That's been all over Twitter lately. It's very frustrating when you have the job Shams and I have of trying to just retweet news, and then every tweet is about who shouldn't have made this All-Star game. So I know people are excited about it, but I was just looking forward to just tell me if like, Gensel's going to play today. Like, I don't need to know so much about who made this tournament. But yeah, good for Adin Hill. Clearly, Canada, people were complaining that Canada doesn't have any good goalies, but Adin Hill's doing really well right now, like you said. Maybe I'll just jump to the next one quickly. Jaden Schwartz is hot for Seattle. Seattle, I did mention, had a good schedule when I did the matchup maximizer last weekend, and I believe I did mention Jaden Schwartz as one of the good potential guys to target for the 4-game week. And, it's been 2 games so far. He scored a goal against San Jose, and then he had a goal and an assist versus Carolina, and there's still going to be a Friday and a Sunday start. So not too late to get on the train and get a couple more games from Jaden Schwartz, who's hot. And by the way, in those 2 last games, not only did he get those points, 5 shots and 4 shots. So you love to see it, right? You're seeing shots. And Jaden Schwartz does this every once in a while. I'm not saying I think he's going to be a season-long hold, but I have him on my team. I added him for this week, and it's going well so far, and I'm hoping he'll continue to do well, and I'll just hold until he goes cold again. I don't even really care about the lines on Seattle. I feel like it almost doesn't matter. They're going to change. Like, there's just a top 9. Everyone is the same. But if you care, Schwartz playing with Yanni Gourde, Matty Beniers, which is like, okay, I guess that's good. I don't know. But Beniers is supposed to be good. Is that the first line? Is that the third line? Nobody knows. But he's been good. Also, by the way, Oliver Bjorkstrand, who's another person I mentioned in the matchup maximizer that you maybe want to add. He's also continued his hot streak, 7 points in his last 6 games, 4-game point streak. So, like I said, there's still a couple more games from Seattle this week after you listen to this show. Those are 2 names that would be at the top of my list to go and get, Schwartz and Bjorkstrand, to help you, finish off your week here.
Yeah, and one little tidbit on that is that with that top 9, you're going to have those risks of just having your ghost games. And right now, there's a minute left in the second period, and Schwartz is literally running a cardio session, not even a shot, and they're up 4-0. So you're going to have those situations where, things are not going to work out. But at the very least, he has shown with the last few games having those points and still having another off-night game coming up that I would keep him in your lineups if you have him. But just with any Seattle player with those lines, you're going to have these situations that you're just going to have to eat, sadly.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Maybe, Shams, let's end it here with just mentioning what's going on in this Tampa-San Jose game. I feel like it's just worth pointing out that it is currently 7-1. Tampa Bay is totally spanking the Sharks. Vanacek got pulled after letting in 5 goals on 12 shots. This is someone I've been trying to shop in my Dynasty League, so not helping me in that effort. Maybe in the end, no one will take him from me, and I'll just hang on to him and then until his contract runs out at the end of the year, then figure out what to do after that. Yeah, but not a great game for him. Blackwood's come in and been better. Only 2 goals against on 19 shots. We're still 15 minutes left in the game. You would think this potentially could have been like a huge game for all of the Lightning, but actually they've been spreading around the offense. Like Braden Point has 3 assists, a goal and assist for Gensel. Like a lot of people just like 2-point games. Cam Atkinson, who Ryan on Tuesday's show was like, I'm putting my finger down. Like with Kucherov out, I don't care. Don't go for Cam Atkinson. Well, 1 goal, 1 assist. So probably the correct advice, and just doesn't always, fantasy hockey is obviously difficult to predict, but good for him. And we'll see if Kucherov is back soon. But clearly the Lightning did not miss Kucherov today for this game against the Sharks. So I wanted to give that update. Also, maybe one other quick update here. The Philly and Florida game, Spencer Knight got 2 games in a row because Bobrovsky had a kid. So congrats to Sergei Bobrovsky. I jumped on Spencer Knight. Thought that'd be pretty sweet. Like I had openings for Tuesday, Thursday. He was terrible on Tuesday in the loss, and today, not like pretty similar. 4 goals against for Spencer Knight. So this is a guy who's supposed to be the future for the Panthers, but this like small little opportunity to get a couple of games in a row, not doing so well. We'll see how it goes. It's 4-4, 16 minutes left. On the Philly side, by the way, Owen Tippett, 2 goals. He's maybe been dropped in a lot of leagues because he's been disappointing, especially in shallower leagues. Maybe this is the start of something. Both assisted by Michkov, by the way. So there's a little update of the Thursday games.
Yeah, then I had to button to the Sharks. It's now 8-1, and it's with a Nick Paul goal. It's going to be that situation is that, the Sharks have been looking more interesting, has been playing well here and there, but just got to remember it is the Sharks, and sometimes, no matter how much they, punch above their weight, these games are just going to come out of nowhere because of just the overall skill another team will have. Okay, and with that, that's the end of, we'll call it a short shift. We'll see how much the time comes out at the end. But thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed our show, consider joining our Keeping Karlsson Patreon group at keepingkarlsson.com/patron, where super supporters receive ad-free episodes, and you can interact with all of us, Brian, Elan, and the Short Shifts crew, and all of the wonderful and intelligent Patreon supporters. It's a great place to chat on Discord. And as Elan mentioned before, is that we do have game day tweets where you can see the website at gamedaytweets.com to get all of your information on lines, injuries, stats, goalie starts, anything you need to know about your favorite NHL team. You can find it there, and you don't have to touch Twitter at all. And until we see you next time, play smart and keep your shifts short.
This podcast is brought to you by Kleenex Lotion Tissues. You can't predict sick days, but with Kleenex Lotion Tissues, you can be better prepared for them while helping keep your skin healthy. Kleenex Lotion Tissues moisturize to help prevent skin irritation while you're battling those unwanted cold and flu symptoms. It's extra care when you need it most. Keep relief within reach. Grab Kleenex Lotion Tissues to help avoid the added discomfort of irritated skin during cold and flu season. For whatever happens next, grab Kleenex.
Life can throw a lot your way in the morning. You might be battling drop-off times, while your kids are battling imaginary monsters or their shoelaces. But no matter what life brings, Life cereal puts a smile on everyone's face. With 24 grams of whole grains and unexpected sweetness in every serving, it's sure to please even the pickiest eaters. Help start your mornings with Life cereal.
I really love my life.